The first thing I see when I wake up is a text from my mother. I signed for you. Calder's already in surgery. You'll be fine. Family first. At first, my brain refuses to process the words. They sit there, glowing on my lock screen as if they belong to someone else's life. But then my side starts to throb deep and hot and the world snaps into focus. I'm lying in a narrow hospital bed, the kind that groans if you shift more than an inch. Above me, fluorescent lights hum like a swarm of mechanical bees. My mouth is dry, sticky. The smell of antiseptic is sharp enough to taste. When I try to move, a sharp pull near my left rib cage makes me gasp. I glance down and see the edge of a thick white bandage peeking out from under my gown. There's tape on my skin and under the tape, pain. Not the kind you get from sleeping wrong. The kind you get when someone's been inside you. The nurse at my bedside notices my eyes on the bandage. She's young, maybe my age, with a name tag that says DIA in big block letters. "Morning," she says with the calm of someone used to delivering strange news. "Pain level." Confused, I croak. Then, 6. She smiles faintly as if she's heard that before. "That's normal for donors. You did great. Textbook surgery." I freeze. "Donors. Kidney," she says almost cheerfully. "Your brother's numbers were already improving when I came on shift." Her words drop into me like stones in water, heavy and cold. "Pie brother." She nods, already checking my 4. "You're a perfect match. It's rare. Calder's lucky to have you." I know I should say something, but my throat closes. Calder, my adventurous little brother who turned 30 last month, had been living with a kidney disease for the past year. We talked about possible treatments in the future. Transplants were always a someday thing, something far off in the distance. But not today. Not without my consent. I grab my phone again and read Mom's text over and over, as if some hidden meaning will appear. It doesn't. The words are still there, smug in their simplicity. "I signed for you." I hit call. Straight to voicemail. Next I call my dad. He picks up on the third ring, his voice warm in that practiced, distracting way of his. "Tim, you're through it. Praise God. What did you do?" My voice is sharper than I expect. He exhales like he's the reasonable one here. "You signed, sweetheart." You nodded. "There was a witness. You've always said you'd do anything for Calder." "I didn't say take my kidney while I was drugged and waiting for an ultrasound." There's a pause. His voice shifts into the tone he uses to win arguments. "You were competent. The ethics board approved it. The surgeon was ready. Calder's life. Put Mom on. She's with him in recovery. He's stable. It's a blessing, Tam. Don't ruin it." I hang up before I throw the phone. The monitor beside me beeps in slow, steady rhythm, like it's counting down the seconds until I do something I can't take back. I open the hospital's patient portal, my fingers clumsy on the touchscreen. Procedure: left laparoscopic donor nephrectomy. Surgeon: A. Kerrigan, MD. Witness: MH. Marla Hale. My mother. Something in me snaps awake. I take photos of the consent form, the incision, the chart header, one after another. Each picture is proof. Each picture says, "This is real and it wasn't yours to take." The door swings open. A woman in blue scrubs steps in, tall, confident, the kind of surgeon who looks like she's never doubted a single decision. "Miss Hale? I'm Dr. Kerrigan. You did beautifully." I don't blink. "I want to see the video." Her brow lifts. "Video? You said there's a video of me consenting. Show me." "We'll have to go through records for that." "Then go through records." She studies me for a moment as if deciding whether I'm a problem. I stare back. Because maybe I was unconscious, maybe I was medicated, maybe I was scared. But I remember enough to know this. I never said yes. And if they've got me on tape saying otherwise, I need to see how they made my mouth say it. Outside, the first gray light of morning seeps into the hallway. Somewhere across the building, my brother is waking up with a piece of me inside him. Somewhere else, my parents are drinking hospital coffee and calling it courage. And here I am taking the first step toward proving what they've done. The painkillers make the ceiling tiles ripple if I stare too long, so I keep my eyes on my phone instead. The blue light stings, but I need to see exactly what they've put in my chart. There's a digital mountain of forms: admissions paperwork, pre-op labs, surgical consent. All signed. All with my name in careful block letters. Except the handwriting isn't mine. I zoom in. The loops are wrong, too neat. My signature is messy, impatient. This one looks practiced. Forged. The time stamp on the consent form, 23:41. That's almost midnight. By then I was curled on a gurney in a dim ultrasound room, and dripping something cold into my arm. I remember the smell of the gel, the way my vision blurred at the edges. I remember my mother's voice, low, urgent, telling me it was just a precaution. A precaution doesn't end with an organ missing. The next file is labeled video attestation. I tap it, but it's locked. Protected content. Requires administrator access. Fine. If they won't hand me the truth, I'll take the edges of it. I open the nurse call button. Dia appears in the doorway a minute later, tablet in hand. Need something for the pain? No. I need the contact for medical records. She hesitates. That usually goes through family for inpatients. I meet her eyes. Not this time. After a beat, she scribbles a number on the back of a disposable glove wrapper and slides it to me like contraband. Don't say I gave you this. When she leaves, I dial. A sleepy voice answers. Medical records, this is Sheena. I keep my tone polite. I'm requesting immediate access to my consent video from last night's procedure. My name is Tamsin Hale. Date of birth. She interrupts. Those requests take days. And usually a parent or spouse initiates. I'm 29. I'm not married. I want my own record. Silence. Then, I'll make a note. I know what that means. It means no. So I switch tactics. I start emailing myself every file I can access from the portal, attaching screenshots, chart notes, lab reports, pre-op vitals, anything that ties the surgery to a forged consent. I'm halfway through downloading when my phone buzzes. Calder. For a second I don't want to answer. I can already hear the gratitude in his voice, the way he'll assume this was some noble sacrifice. But I swipe anyway. Hey. His voice is hoarse, groggy. Tam, you're the reason I'm breathing right now. They said the match was perfect. Thank you. I swallow hard. Calder, did you know? Know what? That this was happening. Last night. He's quiet long enough that I know the answer. They told me you'd agreed. That you wanted to surprise me. I didn't. His breath catches. I didn't think you'd. I didn't. I cut in. More silence. Then a whisper. Oh God. Before I can say anything else, there's a muffled voice on his end. Our mother. The line goes dead. I stare at the call log until the screen goes black. The portal pings with a new note. Family meeting scheduled 3 p.m. room 412. Not patient meeting. Not donor meeting. Family. They're circling the wagons. Good. Let them. Because I've already started my own paper trail, and by the time I'm done, it's going to be long enough to bury them. By the time I'm wheeled into room 412 for the family meeting, the pain has settled into a deep, stubborn throb that matches my pulse. The blinds are half closed, slicing the winter sunlight into pale stripes across the floor. My parents are already there. Mom's in one of her tailored cardigans, hair perfectly in place, like she's about to host a church luncheon instead of face the daughter she signed into surgery. Dad stands behind her chair, hands resting on the back like a politician about to address the press. Calder is propped up in the bed next to mine, pale but smiling weakly. There's an IV snaking into his arm and a blanket tucked neatly around him. Mom speaks first, her voice soft, practiced. Sweetheart, we didn't have time to explain. Calder's kidney function dropped overnight. The doctors said if we waited, he'd be on dialysis before spring. Keep my face still. So you forged my signature. Her mouth tightens. You agreed. I didn't. Dad steps in using his favorite lawyer trick. Low voice, steady eye contact. Tem, you were in pain, scared. We asked if you would do this for Calder. You nodded. That's consent. That's coercion, I say, matching his tone. And you know it. Calder shifts uncomfortably. I thought it was what you wanted. They made it sound like you'd decided. I turn to him. Did you want it this way? Without asking me. He looks down, jaw working. I wanted to live. For a moment, the only sound in the room is the beeping from our monitors. Mom leans forward, her eyes glistening, not with guilt but with conviction. Family takes care of each other, Tam. You've always said so. This is what that means. I let out a short laugh. No, what it means is that you decided my body wasn't mine. She reaches for my hand but I pull it back. Dad clears his throat, shifting the conversation like a chess piece. This doesn't have to get ugly. The hospital followed procedure. The ethics board approved it. The last thing Calder needs is more stress. There it is, his real concern. Containment. Keeping the story clean. I study them both, the way Mom's eyes dart to the door every time someone passes, the way Dad's posture is too controlled. They're hiding something bigger than just a bad decision. I decide to push. Why now? Why so suddenly? You've known about Calder's condition for months. They exchange a glance, a tiny flicker. Mom finally says, his insurance window was closing. We had to act before the deductible reset. Difference. Money. The oldest motive in the book. I lean back against the pillow, filing it away. Not just a medical emergency, an opportunity. Meeting over, I say, voice flat. Dad frowns. Tam. I need rest. I glance at Calder. Feel better, okay? As the nurse wheels me back to my room, I can still feel their eyes on me, watching, weighing, wondering if I'm going to let this go. They already know the answer. Back in my room, the air feels heavier, like the walls are leaning in. I can't stop replaying the way my parents looked at each other when I asked why now. That flicker, it was more than guilt. It was strategy. I'm halfway through drafting an email to a patient rights group when there's a soft knock at my door. It's Daya, the nurse from earlier, holding a clipboard. You busy? She asks. Just writing my memoir, I mutter. She steps in, glancing toward the hallway before lowering her voice. I saw your family meeting. I set my phone down. And I've worked here 6 years. I've never seen consent pushed through at midnight without at least a 24-hour review, unless somebody was leaning hard on the ethics board. Her words land like a small, sharp blade. You think they pulled strings? I think. She hesitates, then flips open the clipboard. Tucked between the forms is a folded piece of paper. He slides it toward me. This fell off the admin desk. Figured you'd want it. I open it. It's an internal memo timestamped 22:15, the night of my surgery. Subject: expedited donor clearance. Hale Tamsin. Note: patient is under moderate sedation but responsive. Family has confirmed verbal consent. Witness: MH expedite due to insurance cycle closure and surgeon availability. Difference. My pulse spikes. Can I keep this? Daya's lips press into a line. You didn't get it from me. And if anyone asks, you don't even know my name. I fold the paper carefully and slip it into my phone case. Why help me? She shrugs, but her eyes are steady. Because I've seen too many people wake up to find decisions made for them. And because you didn't look like someone who was going to let it slide. There's a knock at the doorframe. Different nurse, older, holding a medication tray. Daya straightens instantly, her tone switching to casual. Pain meds for Ms. Hale? The older nurse nods. Daya pats my chart and leaves without another glance. As the door closes, I slide the memo out again, tracing the lines with my eyes. Insurance deadline. Surgeon availability. Moderate sedation. They made me a convenience. And thanks to Daya, I finally have proof. The memo from Daya burns in my pocket like a live wire. I keep imagining what moderate sedation but responsive must have looked like to them. Enough to get my head nodding, not enough to count as unconscious on paper. That night I can't sleep. The morphine haze makes the shadows on the ceiling swim, but my mind stays sharp and flashes. I scroll through my email, refreshing every few minutes in case medical records decides to suddenly be generous. Nothing. It's after midnight when my phone buzzes with a blocked number. A text appears. Check your Dropbox. Link expires in 20 minutes. No name, no explanation. Just a link. My heart kicks up as I copy it into the browser. A video loads, grainy, overhead, timestamp in the corner. 23:38. 2 minutes before the consent form was signed. It's me on a gurney in the ultrasound room. My hair's a mess, my hospital gown slipping off one shoulder. And 4 line snakes from my arm to a pump out of frame. My mother is standing beside me, hand gripping my shoulder. Off camera, a voice I recognize as Dr. Kerrigan says, "Do you understand you're here to donate a kidney to your brother, Calder Hale?" My head lolls toward Mom. She squeezes my shoulder, leaning in so close her mouth nearly brushes my ear. Her voice is barely audible, but I know it's meant for me, not the recording. It's just a cis thing, honey. Say yes so they can fix it. On camera, I murmur something, slurred, incomprehensible. The surgeon prompts again. You agree to the procedure? Mom squeezes harder. My head dips forward in something that could be mistaken for a nod. That's consent, Kerrigan says. The screen goes black. I sit there staring at the last frozen frame. Me, eyes half closed, a puppet with invisible strings. Whoever sent me this knew exactly what they were doing. Another text comes through. You didn't consent. That's enough to start. Be careful who you trust. I try to call back, but the number's already disconnected. I download the file, back it up to 3 separate cloud folders, email it to myself and save it to an encrypted drive. If they try to bury this, they'll have to dig through every copy I've made. Lying back, I can still feel the ghost of my mother's fingers on my shoulder. That gentle pressure that, on video, could look like comfort. But I know what it really was. Control. By morning, the hospital room feels smaller. The walls aren't just closing in, they're listening. Every nurse who comes through now gets a measured look from me, as if I'm trying to read which side they're on. I've watched the video 3 more times. Each time I notice something new. The way my mother's thumb taps my collarbone in a slow, steady rhythm like a metronome. The way Kerrigan never asks me to repeat anything back. The way no one mentions risks or alternatives. At 9:12 a.m. I dial the number for the patient rights group I found last night. Their voicemail picks up, but I leave a message that's short and to the point. My name is Tamsin Hale. I'm a living donor without informed consent. I have proof. Call me. By noon, a woman named Isla calls back. Her voice is crisp, like she's already in the middle of taking notes. Tell me everything from the top, she says. So I do. I start with the ultrasound room, the sedation, the text from my mother. I walk her through the forged signature, the memo Dia slipped me, and the Dropbox video. I don't spare details. When I finish, there's a pause. Tamsin, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is serious. What they did could be criminal, fraud, battery, even conspiracy, depending on the paper trail. The word criminal sends a jolt through me. So what do I do? First, you keep every scrap of evidence safe. Off your devices if possible. Second, you stop talking about this to anyone except me. Not to the hospital, not to your family, not even to your brother. My brother didn't. I start, but she cuts me off gently. I know. But right now you can't afford leaks. She gives me the number of a medical malpractice attorney in Raleigh she trusts. Call her today. And Tamsin. Her voice softens. If what you've told me is true, you've already got a case. After we hang up, I stare at the attorney's number on the paper in my lap. Calling it will make this real. It will also make it war. I'm still holding the phone when Calder knocks lightly on my doorframe. He looks exhausted, his skin sallow against the hospital gown. Can we talk? I nod and he shuffles in, pulling the chair close. I asked Mom about last night. She said you're upset. That you don't understand yet. He searches my face. Do you hate me for this? I shake my head slowly. No, Calder. I don't hate you. But as I say it, I realize something. The people who put us both here are counting on me to protect him by staying quiet. And that's exactly why I won't. I wait until Calder leaves before dialing the Raleigh number Isla gave me. My hands are steady now, which feels like a small victory. The call connects on the second ring. This is Marin Cross, a woman's voice says, brisk but warm. I introduce myself, and within seconds she's asking the same kind of pointed questions Isla did, but with an edge that feels sharper. Do you have the original video? More than one copy? Can you verify timestamps against hospital records? Yes. Yes. And yes. Good. Then before we go any further, I want you to understand something. Once I start this process, the hospital's lawyers will come down on you hard. They'll try to discredit you, they'll lean on your family. They might even suggest you're unstable from the surgery. Are you ready for that? I think of my mother's hand on my shoulder, the way she told me to just say yes. I think of my father calling coercion consent. I'm ready. She tells me to email her everything, video, memo, screenshots, encrypted and zipped. And keep your phone close. Things can move fast once they know you're not backing down. It turns out she's right. 2 hours later, a knock rattles my door. It's not a nurse this time. It's a man in a charcoal suit with a hospital badge clipped to his belt. He smiles in that way lawyers do when they want you to forget they're dangerous. Miss Hale? I'm here to talk about your concerns. I don't invite him in, but he steps over the threshold anyway. He pulls a sleek folder from his briefcase and sets it on the rolling table. We've heard you may have misgivings about last night's procedure. I want to assure you the hospital acted with full adherence to protocol. We'd like to resolve any misunderstandings before they escalate. Resolve. Misunderstandings. I've heard those words in my father's voice 1,000 times. What kind of resolution? I ask. He slides a single-page document toward me. A statement clarifying that you consented willingly and hold the hospital harmless. In exchange, we'll cover all your recovery costs and provide a generous stipend for lost income. A payoff. Disguised as support. I push the paper back toward him. No. His smile doesn't falter, but his eyes harden. I'd advise you to think carefully. These situations can get complicated. Relationships strained. Reputations damaged. That's the idea, I say. He stands, tucking the folder back into his briefcase. Then I hope you have good counsel. I do, I reply and watch the first flicker of surprise cross his face. When the door closes behind him, I grab my phone and text Marin. They're here. They know. Her reply is instant. Then we move fast. Hold the line. By evening, the hospital feels like it's holding its breath. No nurses linger in my doorway. Even Daya only gives me a quick nod as she passes. Word has traveled. I'm not letting this go. I've sent Marin the video, the memo, every screenshot. She's already filed a preservation request to keep the hospital from erasing or altering records. They'll deny they were ever going to, she'd said, but the request puts them on notice. Every keystroke after this is evidence. Around 7, my parents arrive together. Mom has that brittle, too bright smile she uses when she's trying to win over strangers. Dad is stone-faced, hands in his coat pockets. Tam, Mom begins, we heard someone from legal visited. You have to understand, they're just trying to make sure this doesn't spiral. It's already spiraled, I say. Dad steps forward. Dragging this out will only hurt Calder. The stress. I cut him off. Don't use Calder as a shield. You made a choice about my body. I'm making one about my voice. For the first time since this started, Mom's smile cracks. You turn this into a public spectacle? Against your own family? I meet her gaze without blinking. You stopped being just my family when you signed my name. There's a silence so sharp it almost hums. Dad exhales through his nose, the way he does when a case is going sideways in court. Then I guess we'll all see where this goes. Yes, I say. We will. They leave without another word. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzes. A message from Marin. Media contact lined up. If you're ready to go public, we can move tomorrow. I look out the window. The city lights scatter across the dark like tiny shards of glass. Somewhere out there, people are going about their lives, unaware that a family in a hospital room just declared war over a kidney. I type back, I'm ready. Because the truth isn't just mine to carry anymore. It's a weapon. And tomorrow I start using it.